In this episode, some of the names have been changed. On October 24, 1994, a man driving along the old Cali Highway in Oahu, Hawaii, noticed something lying in the woods just off the road. As he approached the object, he realized it was a large toolbox. Curious as to what he had found, he pried the box open. Inside were the badly decomposed remains of a human body. He called 911. Officers and forensic technicians from the Honolulu Police Department responded to the scene. Blunt force trauma on the skull indicated this individual had been murdered. No form of identification was located near the male victim's remains. Hundreds of insects were found in and around the makeshift coffin. Having found little evidence to tell them who this victim was or when he had been murdered, investigators contacted renowned forensic entomologist Dr. Lee Goff. As an expert in insect growth and development, Dr. Goff analyzes bugs found on a corpse and estimates how much time has elapsed since a person's death. In the toolbox, he found over 250 species of insects, including a colony of long-legged ants that had nested inside the victim's skull. After collecting dozens of samples, he returned to his lab at the University of Hawaii. An examination of the skeletal remains revealed that the male victim was between 50 and 60 years of age and approximately 6 feet tall. Damage to the skull was consistent with injuries caused by massive blunt force trauma. Other than observing that the victim had extensive bridge work done on his teeth, no other identifying features were found. Investigators began searching through previously filed missing persons reports, looking for a match with their victim. Though there were a few potential matches, homicide detective Hal Fitchett knew that until they could be certain of the man's identity, solving this case would be nearly impossible.
In all homicide cases, you've got to make identification of the body or skeletal remains in any case to make it solid for a jury to understand that this was a victim and this is how he died and this is who he was and how it happened.
In order to firmly establish the male victim's identity, investigators first needed to determine when he died. Dr. Lee Goff believed that the insects found in the makeshift coffin held the answers.
Typically, what we look at are life cycles of individual insects or succession patterns of insects onto the body. As the first fly lays its egg and starts the clock, the eggs hatch, the maggots begin to feed on the body, they change the body. And as they do this, they make the body attractive to yet another group of insects, and you have successive waves of insects invading this particular body, each one utilizing a different part of the body.
Among the various insects found, Dr. Goff identified the black soldier fly. Entomological research has shown that the black soldier fly will not become attracted to a body until decomposition has been underway for at least 30 days. But Dr. Goff also located newly hatched fly larvae, or maggots, that had come from the black soldier fly. Knowing it takes an additional 60 days from the time the soldier fly arrives to the time its eggs hatch and begin to mature into adults, he concluded that the victim had been deceased for at least 90 days. but the presence of the ant colony inside the skull indicated the victim had been dead much longer.
The ants were there basically looking for a somewhat dry place in which to establish their colony. They were looking at a protected type of an environment, a good place to establish the colony. And they're primarily just as a shelter, as opposed to using the body as a food source.